Hello, and my name is Isa. I'm going to show you how to make garlic graters. If you are interested in purchasing one of my garlic graters, go ahead and check out my website down below. I've acquired this bat. It's a lock and key bat. It's from Bleecker. You can just put it in and then take it out. And I like these because they are wood. So after they dry a little bit, you can see this one's on here, they just pop off, and that one just popped off. But sometimes I'll like wiggle it a little bit and just like go like this. It gives you a really nice and smooth bottom. So if you don't even want to trim it that much, you could just take your sponge and sponge it a little bit. I like to, instead of a sponge, I like to take a wooden knife. I call this wooden knife, or anything wooden. There's so many things, and I just kind of take it and I just go like this. This closes the pores. You can see it closes the pores, versus the sponge will open up the pores and it'll allow the rocks and the grit, I guess, to come up to the surface. So that's why I like to use this instead of the sponge a lot. So I'm not using that much clay. I think this is about 12 ounces, but you can do a full pound. Ooh, my water is so cold. So remember, we're going kind of faster when we center, and then when we do our other steps, we're gonna go slower. So I'm gonna go up, I'm squeezing up, and I do the opposite way. I don't know why, I just taught myself that way. But it should be your right hand is on top if you're going counterclockwise, and you should be pushing in and down, and you're pushing down a little bit more than you push in. I have some air bubbles there, and hold it and then slowly release. Okay, if you want to learn more about centering, I'll link a video up here that goes super in depth in beginner centering. So next I'm going to poke my hole. A lot of teachers will show you like this, and I just don't like that. I don't like that way of teaching, because I feel like then it's double the chances of going further with one and not. How I teach is I like to do a hook and hold my wrist with my right. This is pretty beginner, but it's nice to know this, because sometimes you'll get out of whack and then you'll be like, okay, why can't I do anything? And when I used to do that, I still do it. I go back to the basics. So even I still go back to this. So hook, hold it, and then you're just going directly down the center until you reach about a half an inch to the bottom. And you can always check with your needle tool. So how do we do that? I'm going to take my needle tool, poke it in the center, taking one hand. I'm going to take my pointer finger, meet it to the bottom, hold my whole thing, take it out, and that's how much I have left. So let me see that again. You need this pointer finger to stop at the bottom and stay there, because that shows you how much. I've had one student that does like this, like that. But it doesn't work. You gotta do it with one hand, and it just has to be like that. Anyways, okay, next step, and those holes just plug up. Next up, we're going to keep that hook and that hold, and all I'm going to do is pull to my belly button. I know I'm standing, but it's the same stuff if you're sitting down. So, and remember, your face and your legs should be around here, right? Your face should be center, and your legs should be, you should be pretty close to the wheel head. Don't be super far back. It's all about body stability, and your elbows are always on your thighs, right? So, I'm not going up, I'm not going down, I'm just going directly to my belly button, holding it and slowly releasing. So why did I stop here? Because I don't want to go any further, or else this is going to collapse, and then you're going to have a weak point, and it's going to fall off on you. I like to stop where I centered, so I can only pull out like maybe a half an inch in from where I centered, and that's perfect. Now I'm going to take my sponge, bring out all the water in it, and I'm just going to go back and forth. There's an air bubble on mine, but that's okay. Back and forth, back and forth. You just want to go back and forth on this right inside quarter, right? Because if you apply pressure here, it applies pressure everywhere. I see a lot of students going up here and then going down here. No, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is apply pressure from the middle to the right. Just this one line right here. Just this one line. Okay? Let me show you. So, just this one line here. So, this is a quadrant. You're just doing this, and this is where I am. Okay, so this is my right bottom quarter because I'm going counterclockwise. If you're lefty and you're going the opposite way, if you're going clockwise, then it would be the opposite. It would be the left bottom quarter. But that's all you need. You don't need to go up here. You can see over here. You can try it. It's going to fight you a bit. You want the clay to go through your hands. Okay, so I'm just applying pressure back and forth, and what does this do? It compresses. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten an S crack. That's pretty much just a crack in the form of an S in your piece, but I have, and this helps with that. It compresses all the clay molecules. Think of the clay molecules as plates, so that's kind of what they look like if you need a more visual. So all you need to do is apply pressure here, and that's it. So next, I'm using this because it's already at 6 inches, I think. It should be. But now I'm just going to, you can kind of push it in, but since I'm already making it an out, it's kind of going out and up. It's a very small bowl. I'm just going to take my thing, and I don't like this pinching. A lot of teachers teach this like pinch your pot. I don't like it. I don't think it helps. I think it's too risky. Anyways, that's my rant on it. I can talk more about it later, but so this is not even at 6, I don't think. So I'm going to kind of pull it out, and how I would teach a beginner is I do like this, but I am going to think that you are a little ahead of that. So we're going to take a sponge on the bottom side, and I'm going to apply pressure just with this. This is not applying pressure. This is just holding, because you always want your 2 hands to touch, and I'm just going out. A very small amount. I'm going to take my needle tool, and I'm going to find a spot that's not, I don't want to go over here because it's touching some. I want it to touch all my clay. Can you see this? No. I want it to touch all my clay. And I'm just going to go down slowly, and it's too soft of a clay, but that's okay. I'm gonna take it out. Okay, now I'm gonna compress this lip, and how do I do that? I apply 2 fingers on this side. They're not really pressing it at all, and then my sponge on the top, and you can see, and then I'm gonna move my fingers to this to kind of press down that harsh edge, and then I'm gonna take my sponge and soften it out. You can see right there, bam, we've got it. Nice and cute. The lip is a very important spot for craftsmanship, because I feel like if you're looking at a bowl, you're pretty much looking at the lip first. Is it jagged? Is it, you know, would it be nice to put my lips on? That's the whole thing. Okay, so now I'm going to take my rib. I'm using this one by Mud Tools. I like it because it's kind of, they have different colors, but I like it because it's a little bit soft and malleable. So I'm just applying it. Remember, I'm kind of on the other side because it's hard with the camera, but remember, all we're doing is applying pressure over here, and it applies pressure everywhere. There's no reason to go over here, because then the clay is coming at you. You want the clay to go away from you, okay? So I'm not having my thing like this at 90 degrees. I'm having it at like maybe a 45. So that's kind of pushing down the clay, and the clay is going through it, right? So you can see, I'm gonna kind of move my hands so that you can kind of see. If I do this, I'm only making contact with really right here. I want the clay to compress and copy this. You can see where the clay is. I want the clay to mimic that gradual up. And then I'm gonna kind of use this, maybe if I want it to go kind of more up, and press a little bit on the outside, and there you go. So now we have a really gradual turn up. And now I'm going to take this tool and I'm just going to take a little bit out of the bottom, and we're going to go pretty slow right now. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this motion, and I'm just going to make a twirl on the inside. So the trick with the garlic grater is that you need some harsh surface to actually grate that garlic or the ginger or whatever you're grating. So you do need like that. You don't want to push that down at all. Some of the more harsher, and then I like to add a little more detail. I like to add a little dot. I'm really particular about the lip, so I go back and I touch up the lip just a little bit more because it just looks that much better. Stop the wheel. I'm taking my 2 fingers like this, 1 finger inside, and I'm just gonna go back and forth while lifting these 2 fingers up. And you can see that you can add a little bit of water to this finger, but there we go. That's how you make a garlic grater with a little spout. I like that, so I keep it because I think it's just interesting. Now I have one right here that is dry enough, leather hard, and you can see there's like some little grit things. You can just take your finger and kind of rub those and then do that. But you want that harsh edge because you want it to be able to grate the garlic or ginger, whatever you feel. So I have this. You don't need it. You can definitely do it without it, but it just makes it easier. You can see I can just kind of slide it. And if I wasn't using this, you just do the tap method. So I have my calipers here, and I did my calipers to 4 inches, which I probably should do 3.5 or 375, now that I'm thinking about it. So 375, and you can take these, and this just makes sure that you have it in the right, it's the right measurement. So then I like to take this, this edge, and that's like the one that I'll start with, and you want to start with the outside and then go into the inside. So it's easy to go from the top and then push it down instead of going from the side and pushing in. So I like to go from the top and down, as you can see, and then I kind of go from the side and just kind of clean it up into the shape I want. So that's good, I like that. And then I can go from the inside. And I'm just going to use the edge of this, and I'm going to dig that in, and then go with this one again. Because this one's really good for taking out a lot of clay, and you want to go kind of fast, so I'm going a little too slow. Take that and just take out clay. And before this started, you can take your piece and you feel it, and you can like feel how much you can take out and where you can start taking out from the side and how much you can take out from the bottom. So that's a good way to like remember, and I really suggest it because you can't remember what you threw and how much to take off, because if I didn't do that, I would kind of be going into this blind, and that's not good, because then you're like, how much can I take out? And then it happened to me a lot where you take out too much, and then you're left with a hole, and that's not good. Or you don't take out enough and you're left with a huge thick bottom, which that's also not good. So I like using like a wide, you don't have to use this one, I just have that one, but I don't know where the other one is, but something wide like this. This comes with every like beginner pack. This is really good for making it nice and flat, and I'll just kind of use that and make it flat. But this also comes, this tool also comes in a beginner's pack, so it's really, these are like all the tools that you need. And then I'm going to round out the edges because you don't want any sharp edges on your piece, because that allows it's more prone to breakage. Because if I hit that onto my table, it's probably going to break, versus a round edge is not going to break as much. Okay. That seems pretty good. And I always like to take a spoon or a rock and just burnish the bottom. And I don't do all the bottom, I just do where I'm going to leave it bare. Just because I feel like it looks better. There we go. And let's see what we're working with. So there's a little bit right here. I want to take out just a tad. I'm not taking out too much because right here is where I have my spout. So I don't want to like over trim, or else you're really going to see a line. You're going to see a line right here, so just a little bit. I'll do that. And now you can see that now we have a really nice bottom, and you can even feel it, and it's good to like feel the piece and figure out what you can do better for the next one. And if I don't like something, like right here there's a little bit of a thing, I'll take my sponge and I'll kind of go. I don't really want to sponge my whole piece, because when you throw, maybe right here because it's a little bit, when you throw, you're adding this like top layer of like slip, so it's really nice layer and it's smooth. Once you take your sponge and you start going back and forth, you're taking off that top layer and you're showing the grit from underneath, and so then it'll become more gritty and more sandpaper like. So I don't like to take a lot of use the sponge to wipe it that much, only where you need to. And yeah, it just makes a nicer piece. But then again, if your piece is very it needs some cleanup, use your sponge, because it's better to have it where it's a little bit grainy, and then you can kind of like sandpaper it off. But if you do that, make sure that you have a respirator and you do it outside and not by anybody else in the studio, because that is, I feel like it's a bad manners, and it's also putting other people at risk for silica inhalation. So do that with when in a good environment. But you can always do that. So yeah, that is my tutorial. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe. It helps me out so much. And if you have any other ideas for a tutorial, or you want me to break down something else, let me know in the comment section. If you'd like one of these, I'll link my website down below or up here, so you can go check them out on my website. Thanks so much for watching.